about a man, we'll call him Abraham. Had a little store, had a little business running. He was busy with himself, helping small times people, whatever he can afford. And then one day, as he sits in his store, he looks outside and he sees a stranger. Looks for like a very interesting person, passes by. In those times, it was very common. A stranger passes by, people would invite him. Do you have where to stay? Come over to my home. Right? Sounds like great night. So, the shopkeeper walks outside, says, Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? Where are you from? Are you a stranger here? He says, yes. Would you like to come to my home? He says, yes, why not? He comes into his home, and as he comes to his home, tells him, here's your room, whatever you need to eat, to drink, you're my guest. The man thanks him, stays with him for 2-3 days. He says, I have to move on in my life. I'm going forward. Before I leave, I want to give you a blessing. I give you a blessing that you will become the wealthiest man in town. Really? Thank you. Happens to be this was a real tzaddik. And his blessing worked very fast. In a short period of time, he turned to become the wealthiest man in town. But when he gave him the blessing, he said to him with one condition. That whatever wealth you gain, you have to share it. You have to give to all the people who need this money, share it with them. Do you promise? He says, yes. And the Rebbe, before he leaves, says to him, if you keep your promise, my blessing will work for you. So in the beginning, his home was open to everyone. He welcomed everyone to come in. Here it is, come in, enjoy. And then his business grew more, and he became busier and busier in life. And at that time, he realized he has no time to pay attention so much to the guests who are coming to his home all day long. He has to pay attention to his business. So then he realized he has to hire somebody to take care of the guests. He hired someone to take care of the guests. And he was focused on the business. The business, thank God, was successful and grew, and he did very nice. With the time, the house became too hectic for him. He couldn't. He comes home, and too many people at home, he cannot focus. He says to the helper, from now on, just take the charity to the synagogue. Stay in the synagogue, whoever comes to you, give them charity. Nobody should come to my home anymore. I cannot accommodate everyone. Okay? But after a while he says, too much money I'm giving to charity. And he cut it out. The word came to the Rebbe, who gave him the blessing. What happened to you with this Abraham that you blessed? So that Rebbe traveled back all the way to that town. Came knocking on the door of the wealthy man, and now is living in a beautiful palace. And the helper says to him, I'm sorry, nobody's available, just go away. So the Rebbe tells him, tell your boss, the Rebbe is here waiting for him. So he goes, tells him, there is a man that says, he is the Rebbe, he's waiting for you. He heard that, he jumped down the stairs, ran quickly, opened up the door, come in, Rebbe, welcome to my home. The Rebbe walks into his home and sees, obviously, it's beautiful, and he shows to him how the latest paintings and the art that he has in his home, how his home looks like a palace. And the Rebbe looks and he sees the centerpiece is a nice mirror with a gold frame around it. So he says to him, can you come here, Abraham? And he shows, what do you see in the mirror? Abraham says, Rebbe, you making fun of me? Of course, I see myself, I see my house, my furniture. Then they walk over to the window and he says, what do you see there? Well, you see in the window, he says, I see a poor man. He's the tailor of town. He's a very poor man, hardly makes a living. Nothing special about him. How about this woman? This woman is a widow. Nothing special about her. She's a very poor woman. You know. Another person, also very poor person. Anybody that they looked at, nothing special about them. So the Rebbe says, I don't understand. The window is made of glass. The mirror is made of glass. Why, when you look in the mirror, you see just yourself? And when you look in the window, which is also made of glass, you see those unfortunate people. When the Rebbe said that, suddenly it clicked in his mind. And he realized that it's not.
Thank you.
That it's not about the glass. He says, behind the mirror there is silver covers the glass. And when silver covers the glass, you see just yourself. In the window, there is no silver covering. So then you see other people. He realized immediately the message. That when there is too much silver in the back, at the same time, you can see only yourself. And when the Rebbe said that perhaps we have to remove the silver so you can begin seeing others, he started to cry. He realized what the Rebbe is talking about. He begged and he said to the Rebbe, please don't take away the blessing. I will change. Give me another chance. That night he invited everyone of the town and all the poor people of the town. And he said to them, from tonight, I am a different human being. I am a different person. I am going to be open. My home is open to you. My money is your money. I have nothing mine. It's all the blessing of God. And he made a pledge in front of the Rebbe that from now on, this is the home of the community. And the Rebbe left. He was satisfied that he took another chance, and he was able to. Really understand the whole blessing was there for him to help others. The most important part in life that we can make be happy people is if when we reach the abilities to self-actualizing, to actualize ourselves, to be ourselves, who we are. Not just to do things because that's what the demand of the society, but to really actualize and be who truly I am, who I want to be, who I can be, who I should be. That's a person who can really be happy. As long as we live for other people, and as long as we live for the demands of the society, as to say, or the pressure of the society, we can never be truly happy in life. One of the things that we know, that is sometimes we have ideas what is the correct thing to do, but we feel it's very difficult to do that. I know this is the right thing to do, but I don't feel easy to do that. It takes a lot of me to sacrifice. I have to sacrifice so much to do the right thing. Comes the obvious question, who am I? Am I the good person as we discussed last week? Am I in essence the person who wants to do goodness and find my character and be helpful and doing the right things? Or I am in essence not a good person, but I'm trying to be better? We'll revisit a little bit the words of King Solomon. And the words of King Solomon are very, very simple, but and we will today discuss the inner meaning of the words of King Solomon. because the words of King Solomon is not just simple words. He speaks about the wisest man on earth. And when he said something, he meant beyond what we just can see in the first view. What we basically said is, King Solomon, as we mentioned last week, if you open up in the book, page 29, text 2a, Mi Yodea, says King Solomon, who knows? How many understand that the spirit of man ascends on high, while the spirit of the beast descends on earth? Basically to say, if you open up text 2b on page 30, so you will see this further. You want to read it for us?
Yeah.
Page 30, text b. 2b.
There are two spirits within a person, as it is stated. The spirit of the beast descends to the earth, while the spirit of man ascends on high. The commentaries explain that both refer to the human. There is the spirit of the animal within the human, in which man and beast are alike, and there is the spirit by which man is distinct from animal. This is the human soul.
The question that there is existing in this world, what drives man to do all the work that we do? What drives us? What is the motivation behind it? Why do we push ourselves to run and to run to work and to run to other things? Huh?
Money is running then.
And how about if we achieve money already? We have enough for our house and our children and our grandchildren. Why do you want more and more? What's the limit? How much money do we need? Is there a limit? What drives us? Insecurity? So the more you work harder, you have more security?
What
So for
drives?
the future.
Progression.
Progression. What does progression mean?
It means you can't just sit somewhere, you have to do something. You have to
be,
move on.
okay, but you can go to the beach, you can drive, you can enjoy yourself, you can lay down. Why do you have to push yourself hard? Just take it easy. But people, especially in New York, are pushing and as much as they do more and more. They take upon themselves more. Why? What's the driving force? So if you have psychiatrists, so one psychiatrist says, the desire to gain power.
Power, yeah. Money, but money is power.
Okay. So money, power, whatever it is, that's what one opinion says. Everyone wants to gain power. Does really everyone is looking for power? Everyone wants that power? Some people do, some people less.
Recognition.
Sigmund Freud said, what is libido? That's another drive. Everyone is driven by something. Okay? However, this is very recent. They were in the last century, whatever, 100 years ago. There is many centuries before them came King Solomon. And King Solomon explained, what drives us is two distinct and opposing forces. It's not the libido, not the power. It's much more beyond that. What drives us is the two forces, the spirit of man, which is godly, and the spirit of the beast, that is animal soul. And each one drives to a different direction in our lives. Obviously, when we speak about the spirit of the beast, is running the power, running for the libido, running for everything what's for me and my physical enjoyment. But then, behind the scenes, there is a deeper force. Depth of every person is, why am I? What am I? Where am I? What am I doing in my life? No, you can run, but at one point you have to stop and think, what am I doing here? Am I here just to run and work? What am I doing for? What am I accomplishing with my life? And that's where the question comes from the spirit of man, the godly soul. So there is two opposite forces that pushing us. Obviously from here we can understand and see that the driving force is not an external reason. It comes from the souls that is within ourselves. And those souls want to do something. Now the exterior soul is called the animal soul. The inner soul, the core soul of the human being, is called the godly soul. So, if you want to describe who are you, who am I? Am I the godly or I'm the beast? If you say the core and the inner one is the godly, should I be more godly? Then I should want a more spiritual, I should have morality, I should want to have the right things to do in life. But why is it so difficult for me to do the right things? I know what is the right thing because God gave me the brains and we understand what is right and what's wrong. And I still feel comfortable to do the right, I feel comfortable not to do the right things. I feel comfortable what the beast wants for me. But I feel very difficult and I sacrifice every time that I do something good. What's the reason for that? The division is very clear. The division between the godly and the animal is very clear. You can see it, that the godly soul is selfless. Wants to think about how can I make sure my people that need it in this community are taken care of. People who are suffering, I want to be there for them. Selfless feelings. And there are people who are driven with that. They are there to help, they volunteer, they go out, they do whatever they can. For what reason? They're not going to gain anything, but they have inner satisfaction for reaching out and doing volunteering and helping and doing. And as for what? I am happy when I do that. Some other people are driven by the shared instinct, focused on selfish needs. They are driven only with our idea, is this what I want? Is this makes me happy? Is this makes me instant gratification? That's I'm happy. If I have to sacrifice my life to help people who are in need, that doesn't bother me. I don't like that. I'll help sometimes, but that's not what drives me. Yeah.
Is there a percentage? So like the 80-20 rule, you want to be, obviously you have to have a combination of the two because we live in a physical
So
world.
which one is the 80, which one is the 20?
Well, it could be either way, but life is generally the 80-20 rule. But the question is, obviously you can't be all one or all the other. It's got to be a blend of the two. Is there an ideal blend here?
That's what we're going to discuss. That's where we're heading, yes.
I'm a little bit confused because you said the person who's happy is the person who knows himself and is self-actualizes. So how is that different than the I love me? It's the same thing.
We are heading, I just gave the introduction to this idea, but we're heading to achieve that. How do we come to the
How do you
self-actualization?
self-actualize without being selfish? Is that what you're trying to say?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I apologize, just Can you clarify something? We have one soul and two powers within one soul, or we have totally two different souls that are, one of them is the core internal, one of them is external,
Two separate souls.
separate completely. All of them the sparks of God.
Well, the godly soul is something that is one with God, as we spoke last week,
Okay, internal.
which is God, and that godly soul is one. It's a creation of God, but it's one with God.
Yes.
And the other one is a creation of God, but not one of God.
Okay.
Like everything else is a creation of God.
Yeah.
To summarize clearly, just for you for a second, so you're clear about it, we spoke about it last week. Everything that you see around us is a creation. There is a major difference between the creation and the creator. There's a huge gap in between. Because the creation is nothing compared to the power of the creator. And the essence of the creator is above and beyond any power of comprehension that anyone can ever understand. But within this creation, God created the soul of the godly soul within human beings. And that godly soul is godly, becomes one with God. God, as to say, not only manifests, but unites with that soul, becomes as one entity. Although it's a creation, but it's not like creation, the rest of it. The rest of it is remain as a creation, totally almost independent. That's the way God created it. It looks like independent, like on its own. It's all God, but it's creation of God, not one with God.
That's the
Godly soul is a creation that is manifest and reveals godliness within itself. It's because it's once. It's become one entity with God.
That was a very, very good question. So actually, there are two separate souls within each person?
Correct.
It's the first time I've heard that. It's very interesting.
Two separate souls and two separate forces that are driving us.
Two separate types.
Correct. There is the godly one that is united with God, and there is the animal soul that is a creation of God, but it's not united with God. It's not one of God.
And as far as location, can you pinpoint the location within?
Right and left. The left side is the animal, the heart is the left side,
So the heart is considered the animal. Very interesting. Yeah.
and the right side is considered to be the godly soul.
From the mind.
From the mind,
Connected with
and
the mind, but not disconnected from anything else. Just
we will
more
soon get
generated.
into that mind and
Sure.
emotions. This is another topic that we have to get in and develop that, yes.
Any relationship between nefesh, ruach, and those categories with these, or separate entities?
Obviously there is, you're going into that, there is no. Nefesh is the lowest of the lowest. This
Is that
is
the same as the
this
animal
is
soul?
the animal.
It is the animal soul,
Yes.
the same thing? Nefesh?
Correct.
Okay.
Ruach is in between, and Neshama is the highest.
So we have
That's
three.
the godly. Ruach is the natural, is in between. It's not another soul. It's just a power that is used within. The neshama itself is divided in 5, actually. 3 within the body and 2 outside of the body, above the body and beyond the body. And the 3 within the body is nefesh, ruach, neshama. Nefesh is the animal soul within us. Ruach is the spirit, the desires and the will that comes from the soul and the enjoyment of life. And then comes the neshama that wants the unity with God, to do the right thing in life, to help us to bring meaning to our lives. So the difference is very, very clear. We are two forces within one human being, and those two forces are two opposites, completely opposite from one another. And they're driving us to different locations, different directions. And we have to make compromises to work with them. We don't want to ignore one, but we cannot indulge to become with one.
Why, just to get back to that for a minute, two souls? Is it because we can't have a soul, the godly soul, which is actually God, and the animal soul mixing together, combining? You can't have
They
that
are
mixed by-
combined together. They are mixed together. But they are mixed to a point where each one pulls to a different direction as it originally begins. The goal is, and now I'm going one
Well,
step
if it's
further.
mixed together though, wouldn't it be one if they're mixed together?
It's
then
one
it's
in the
one.
human being's body, but not one with their desires. Each one has a different desire.
Wouldn't it be more that there are two because they're really from two different parts of God? One is from God himself that was blown out, and the other is really is a creation, more of.
I'll give you an example from last week's Parsha. Parsha last week speaks about Rebecca, who was pregnant, and she felt pain. She felt the baby is running and it doesn't give her rest. And she was confused. Every time when she passed by a bar or a church, whatever, the baby wants to go in. And when she passes by a synagogue, again the baby wants to go in. So she was confused. What kind of baby am I carrying? Am I carrying a good human being, or am I carrying a beast over here? So she came to ask the rabbis in the synagogue. And the rabbis told her, it's not the one, you're pregnant with two. There is one who wants to go this direction, and the other one wants to. Now she was calm. She said, I couldn't live with the idea that the same person would be both, because that's going to be destructive. But if one wants to go this way and the other one wants to go the other way, okay, now I understand. It means a person cannot jump on all weddings, on all directions. Which direction am I going? That's the question each one has to ask. Where am I heading in my life? Am I heading to satisfy only my animal needs, which is focused on my ego and my self-indulgence in pleasure? Or am I here to do something beyond that and to do something for others and do the world and make the world a place for God to be here? That it becomes more moral, more righteous, to do the right things.
It seems the concept of two separate souls doesn't seem right. It seems like there's disunity there, that it would be one greater soul with two aspects to it, two main aspects to it. The concept of two souls within one person doesn't resonate.
Why not?
Just
That's
doesn't. It feels like a separation.
There is, as the words of King Solomon is very clear in Kohelet, the spirit of man ascends on high, and the spirit of the beast descends to earth. So we do understand that there is the spirit of the beast within us. We have the same animal needs like any other animal. And on the other hand, we have something beyond that animals don't have, is the spirit of man. You can transform yourself to become a different personality. If a person is by nature an angry person, if a person is by nature a very stingy person, if a person by nature cannot socialize with people, is that what the destiny of that person is all about? Can the person change? Can you acquire a new character? Or you have to remain with that rotten character that you think you are? So we understand. That's where the wisdom of King Solomon comes in. we find in schools very often today with children, but unfortunately it's also with many adults. People feel judged. People feel, people look down on me. People hate me. People don't like me. Is it real, or it's just an imagination of the mind?
Sometimes real, sometimes an imagination.
Most of the time is because we are acting in such a selfish way. We give people a reason to hate us. We are acting in such a self-centered way that people cannot associate with us. But if people are acting in a different way, giving, they're totally dedicated, selfless people. Did you ever see people hate selfless people?
Yeah.
They hate selfless people.
There are people out there that are so envious if they see somebody that's that way.
You hear the word envious. Why are they envious? You have your life and enjoying yourself and you are indulged with your physical pleasure. Why are you envious of a person who doesn't have such pleasure? He just works for others, volunteers in the hospitals, volunteers to help people, but doesn't have any vacation and pleasure like you do. Why would you envy them?
Because the
Now I'm going one step
godly
further.
soul really wants to go that direction of the person.
So, in nature, you see in nature is that we are easy. You offer someone a vacation, of course I'm gonna run. You offer someone, here's a car for you, do you want it? Of course, I love it. Anything you offer them physical, they will run and jump on it. But you offer them, come study Torah with us for an hour. Oh, really, I'm a little bit busy today. It could be another time. Why? If Torah is the wisdom that allows us to understand life and understand where our life and direction should be, that should be the natural thing to run. You know what Rabbi Levitzon or Bardichev said? He said, God, I don't understand you. It's not fair what you have done in this world. That all the physical pleasures you put in front of our eyes, and the good rewards and everything wonderful you placed in the books on the shelf in the library. Of course people are running to sin because right in front of their eyes is all the physical pleasures. How about you should change it the order around? Put the physical pleasures in the books and the library and put the meaning of life and everything spiritual in front of our eyes. Do you think anyone will ever go to sin? I promise you, said Rabbi Levitzon, that nobody will go sinning. He was right. But why did God create it this way? Because there is a default soul in our lives. Although the inner core soul is the godly, the spiritual, and the outer soul is the physical and the beast. The default soul in our lives is the beast. The default is always, which is easier. The default is that one. That's the way God created the world. Although, while we are enjoying ourselves in a physical manner, from time to time we wake up, what am I doing? How much more can I just waste my time with this? At the moment you enjoy it, but later on you wake up, just such a waste of time. I didn't accomplish anything. So, in the background, there is the core soul that's sending these messages and a wake-up call from time to time. You are just not focused in life. Obviously, this is where we find is the issue. The issue is the default soul that God created us, that the default is the animal, the beast. And that's easier and natural for us to become more spiritual, to understand about meaning of life. This is too much for me to handle. I have to sacrifice to do that. But you know what? When a person is able to reach that level and able to sacrifice to accomplish that, you feel more satisfied and happier in life. Right? Obviously, there is the instant gratification. You see a piece of cake, you want to have a piece of it, right? Or pursuing higher goals in life. You have to go for a degree, to study, to reach something, to become something. It's very difficult. It's costly, it's sacrificing, you have to study, you have to do something. Why can't I have my life easy? Just go to the beach, go on vacations. I don't want to study too hard, I don't want to put my efforts. So obviously the instant gratification is my animal soul wants whatever in front of my eyes, I want to enjoy it. But then pursuing higher goals in life is a much more difficult steps. But which one will give you true happiness? The instant gratification or to pursue higher goals in life? There's no question. The instant gratification you'll enjoy for the moment, and then later on, why I ate this piece of cake and look what I'm gaining more weight and health issues, and then you regret it. But on the other hand, a person who has to sacrifice and they give in and they say, I have to be self-controlling, I have to discipline myself, I have to know how much and what not to, and then they achieve the goals what they achieve. The satisfaction of life is a much greater satisfaction.
So the essence of our daily struggle is constantly the animal soul and the godly soul trying to, each one pulling us, the animal soul constantly pulling us in that direction, and now we're attempting to move a different direction from instant gratification to higher goals.
Well, because, thank God, we are in default is our physical soul.
Right.
Look, the question is very simple. 6 o'clock in the morning, do you want to wake up or you want to sleep?
The dog woke me up this morning at 6.
Yeah.
He never does that. He had to go
It's
out.
terrible.
He had to go.
Now imagine 6 o'clock in the morning, you have to wake up to go to synagogue to pray.
So it was truly the animal soul that woke me up this morning.
Or the animal soul wanted to continue sleeping. Which one is that, the animal? So on one hand, the animal soul says, I want to enjoy my life, I want to sleep more. Or, I have a long day today, I have what to do today. I have no time to sleep now. I have to wake up and move on. So on the one hand, our hand naturally wants to shut down this clock. On the other hand, no, I have to wake up, I have so much work to do today. So there is, immediately as we wake up in the morning, there is that immediate struggle in life already.
There's a struggle with that. The person is waking up, perhaps not for godly reasons, but because he wants those physical things that are going to satisfy the animal soul even more.
Correct. However, at that given moment, the default is I'm in sleep. I like to sleep more. I'll sleep another half an hour.
Well,
What's the big deal?
That's the-
Okay, I'll do that. Let me sleep another half an hour. Not that he wants to sleep a whole day, obviously. That extra half an hour is that where the animal soul is pulling us. Take another sleep. Person who is a smoker smokes. Even a good doctor sometimes smokes, right? A doctor understands better than anybody else how smoking really damaging your lungs and God forbid can shorten your life. But the doctor can say, even a doctor can say, let me take one more cigarette. It's not gonna kill me. One more cigarette, big deal. That one more cigarette, who is that? Is this the animal or the godly soul? What is pushing you to do that? It's self-destructive. It's totally opposite of life, and the core of me wants to be alive and well. Why are you taking this extra cigarette? It's only because, again, the animal tries to explain to the mind, don't get so crazy about it. Calm down, I understand it's wrong, but a little bit is not such a big deal.
The Yetzer Hara.
Yetzer Hara, but this Yetzer Hara comes with reason. Not go crazy, become a heavy smoker and kill yourself. No. He comes with a good, nice explanation. It's one cigarette, it's not a big deal. It's one little thing doing wrong. Doesn't make you the bad person. It's only one. One by one. Doesn't come to tell you change in one shot everything. One step. That little part that comes and tells us, do something, it's not going to really make you. That is again how the default of the animal soul is working. Trying to convince us, do a little this, a little here, a little that. This is just to satisfy your natural being, who you are. So why would you fight against it? Sounds right. But if you think a little bit deeper, that cigarette could be the effect to begin something to cause, God forbid, illness. It's only one, but maybe that one will be the one to trick something. How do you know? Why would you want to put your life in danger for no reason? Because you're going to enjoy the smoking for a minute? Does that make any sense? So when we think about internally, with the godly soul, we begin to realize it's a total mistake. And you know what? If God forbid a person gets sick, he will say, why? I made such a huge mistake. I took this extra cigarette in my life. But that is the part where the animal walks in. It doesn't tell you, be bad, be an animal. A little here, a little there, it's not going to really change. That little here and there creates a different persona. Changes the person.
So the animal soul, basically, this is the Yetzer Hara.
Correct. This is how the
You
Yetzer
name
Hara.
it Yetzer
the
Hara, or
Yetzer
you name it.
The Yetzer
Animal
Hara
soul.
works within the animal soul. Yetzer Hara is Ra. The animal soul is not Ra. It's not evil.
What's the meaning for Yetzer Hara?
Yetzer Hara means the evil inclination. And the animal soul is not evil. Animal soul wants just to enjoy life. I don't want to do evil. I just want to enjoy my physical life, self-centered, centered on me and mine, and I am, and nothing else in life beside me. It's not bad. It's not evil. Sometimes we have to focus on ourselves. We have to keep a healthy body. We have to focus to keep in shape and so on, which is important. But not to be indulgent in that. What is the difference if you do enjoy life and you're indulgent about it? What's the difference? The difference is very simple. When you enjoy life to a certain limit, and you know the limits, you are in control of the beast. But if you become indulgent, that becomes in control of you. You are no longer here on your own control. So people who want to become free people, and free that the mind is in control of, that's what we say, the mind is in control of the heart, because the heart sees something, desires. When this heart sees, oh, why my friend has such a beautiful car, I want to have too. That's where the mind steps in and says, do you really need it? Or because they have it, you should have it? What's the connection? Why do you want to copy somebody else? Why can't you be your own person?
What about the person?
That's a self-actualization.
What about the person whose mind stops them from enjoying any physical pleasure at all and says, no, I can't have that.
Okay,
And does that all the time. It's going too far the other direction too.
very good question. The class that we're discussing here today is not how to fight yourself, how to change your thinking, feelings, and action. A person has to not to fight, because in the beginning you try to fight. If a person makes a decision, no, I'm not gonna eat anymore anything with sugar, with cakes or anything. Okay, you make a decision. It's a good decision? Probably yes. But you're fighting yourself. Every time you see delicious cake, you're fighting, I want to have it. But I made a decision. The question is not to become a fighter. The question is, how do you change your way of thinking? How do you change your feelings? How do you change your behavior? That it's not to in order to fight. The change doesn't happen in one shot. And the change doesn't happen in huge changes in life. That you have to take big steps and say, or I get everything or nothing. There is no such thing, everything or nothing. Changes become with small little steps. Small, tiny steps. What's my, and for instance, you can take upon yourself and say, in a way, each and every one of us is not perfect. Controlling temper, let's say, as an example. Person has temper. They control your temper and say, no, I'm never gonna be angry anymore. Doesn't make sense. But you know what? You take one step at a time. When you're about to get your temper and you're about to get angry, and then you say, hold on a moment. Can you overcome this part? Can you not be angry this time? Or you can control your anger here or not? To what degree can you control it?
But sometimes it's important to take big steps because, say for example, somebody has had digestive issues their entire life and they find out after many, many years, which a lot of people do, that they have celiac disease, where they can't have anything that has gluten in it whatsoever. So overnight, they are forced to have to change what they're doing. They can no longer have anything with wheat or gluten.
Obviously, this is what you're mentioning is not their choice. If people know that they have something, they will have pain what they're going to eat. So it's obviously they're going to refrain because this is instantly painful. Would you want to be painful? No. So obviously they will refrain. But there is also another idea. How do we reach that? It's called no pain, no gain. If you have no pain, you'll never be able to gain anything. People feel, I want to gain all the time. But if you don't have that self-discipline from time to time, and take small measures how to control, and it could be sometimes the self-discipline is painful, you will never be able to gain something which is greater. What is the greatest part in life that we are trying to achieve is called da'at.
I'm thinking about melech and lemech.
And lechem.
No,
Melech is lechem.
no. Moach, lev, kaved. Or to think with kaved, lev, and moach. That's make the whole difference about the whole conversation.
Correct. Correct. But what you're saying is how to fight this. how to think, not with the kaved and the lev,
How to control it.
and how to control it, and you control the mind. But what we are discussing is changing the frame of mind and feelings about it. Not just to change the action, the behavior, but changing the feelings and changing the frame of thinking, which is a step beyond that. Because what you're describing is a constant struggle. Am I going with my heart, my kaved, or my mind? And that is the struggle. You're right.
Or if you think like a melech, if a person, human being, think like a melech, so it's everything is by control. And you're taking
Control. Oh,
No.
And you-
but you take
thinking-
control. It means you're in control, controlling the other things.
But you always have to be in control because there's always your mind. So that's
But
the way I see it.
But if you
But-
get to the point where you don't care about, let's say, sugar anymore, it's not a sacrifice for you. So it's not like you're fighting yourself.
No, but you think because it's not good for you, so you don't need to deal with that because it starts from the mind.
correct. But still, the mind and the heart will always struggle for about it. Even though you think like a melech, but you tell the heart, "Hey, calm down. I don't want you to bother me. This is the way we're going to do it. My way or the highway." Right? But the issue is not when the person has to always pull down the heart, the desires. How about to change the feelings of the heart as well, that I desire also good things.
Yeah, they see eye to eye. The heart and
Correct.
the mind see eye.
That's the synchronization that we spoke last week. To be a synchronized person, that the heart and the mind now work in
They're friends.
correct. They're working together. They are seeing the same things. And that takes about the change of the mind, change how we feel, and change our behavior. And that is being achieved by taking small steps. Small steps of shifting how we think in life, small steps how we feel in life, and small steps how we act in life. Small steps, and I'm stressing it. It's important to understand only with small steps we are able to make a change. If we're taking big steps, we will not be able to change anything.
Well, you'd be able to change it. It's like you said, if you were up against a wall and you don't have a choice, you'll change it. It's just you're not changing the way the mind works and the way that the thinking is. And again, instead of consider it to be something painful, to make the pain is still there, but to create a friend from the pain. It's now a friend as opposed to an enemy. That's the real change in thinking.
Correct. That's the real change.
But how do you get there? I hope this course, I hope by the 6th session we'll be able to do that.
It's not going to happen in 1 hour. But
By the end of today, we
that's
can get that
the,
done.
that's the direction where we're heading. Because that's the real change that we're discussing here.
Yeah.
If a person understands, first of all, before we make any changes in life, or before we take any steps, first of all, we have to understand the direction. If we understand where is the goal to reach, then we have to work how to reach that goal. But if we don't even know where to reach the goal, which direction to go, you will never be able even to think about any goals. So step number 1 is to understand where is the goal, where am I heading in life? And that's the goal I want to achieve. If you understand that, then the next step comes in, how do I get to that goal? So the fact that we learn today about to understand, to reach, should be a goal to reach, that is a major step. That's the architecture of the house before you begin even planning. What are you going to have in the house? So the architecture of a human being that's what is the essence of life here. as I mentioned before, to reach that level, we have to begin to understand what is Adam, is Adamel Elyon. Not Adama, earth, but Adameh. Adameh means similar to the God above us. God created us in the image of Himself. B'Tselem Elokim bara otam, Zachar u'Nekiva, male and female, created in the image of God. What is the image of God that God created us? Means who am I? Who is me? The soul that you instilled within me is pure, as we say every morning. Which soul is that? Obviously we know. This applies to the godly soul. That the godly soul leads us and directs us to do the right things in life. The animal soul pushes us, no, just enjoy life. And if I'm not such a great human being, if I'm doing the wrong things in life, it's not because you're bad, not because you have low IQ, you don't understand that this is wrong and this is right. Sometimes you want to be rebellious, you want to do the wrong things. Sometimes it gives you excuses. We justify ourselves too much. We give ourselves so many excuses and explanations to why we're still good, even though we made the wrong moves in life. And that's how the beastly soul operates. They don't tell you to do wrong. Go and become a robber. Go do the wrong things. No. Small little steps. That also leads us for different excuses. What is the, how do we overcome that? As I mentioned before, the essence of life is Da'at. Remember the words Da'at. What is Da'at? The first time that the Torah mentions Da'at is Va'adam yada et Chava. Vateled et Kain. It means, the literal explanation in Hebrew of Da'at means knowledge. Is Va'adam yada et Chava, Hinu Chava, knowledge. What is Va'adam yada et Chava? Means connection. Adam and Eve connected. The most important part of life that helps us to focus in life is a connection. To understand what is the connection, so first of all we have to just give you a little view of the intellectual faculties of the human being. What is the purpose of intellectual property in us, in a human being? For what purpose? On one hand, there is the soul that gives us the power, connects us, does everything, gives us the desires, the drive, and everything comes from the soul. The heart is the function of feelings, connection, love, fear, all comes from the heart. What's the mind doing there? The intellect is there because if the soul touches the heart, it will become a huge flame. It will become a huge fire.
What soul touches the heart?
The soul, the godly soul.
It touches the heart.
Touches the heart, the desires, and the heart. The heart is very inspirational. You are inspired with the heart. The mind is more calm, collective, more able to facilitate ideas in a calm way.
The mind controls the heart.
The excitement comes from the heart. The calmness comes from the mind. Again, this is not the discussion of today, but I'm just bringing an introduction. And the idea of the mind takes the excitement of the soul, because the soul is all excited about do the right things, and a little bit brings it and formalizes it and connects it to the heart. Not in huge forms, but little by little. That's what why? So the heart can tolerate, the heart can live with that and doesn't become totally out of this world. That's the idea of the intellect. But intellect, what is the intellect is all about? Intellect is divided, and that's scientifically proven, in 3 different parts of the brain. There is the chokhmah, the binah, and the dat. The chokhmah, what is chokhmah is translated to wisdom, but chokhmah means conception, creativity. First flash of intellect. Conception, creativity. When a person has a challenge in life, and you don't know how to overcome the challenge, how am I moving ahead with that? And suddenly a flash comes into the brain. Yes, this is maybe I should do. The flash is just a light, but doesn't have all the details yet. Just the idea, the concept. Now, in order to develop the idea, we go to Bina. Bina is the second part of the brain, which is the one that understands, expands the developments of the idea as who, why, when, what, where, how, and brings the solution in details. So someone has an idea, but if the idea didn't move on to Binah, to the second part of the brain will never be able to actualize that idea. It will disappear again. Came, sound, wonderful, moved away. Only when it goes to Binah, the word Binah means meditation also. You begin to meditate about that stage of the enlightenment. You begin to focus and develop and contemplate what is this idea is all about, how this idea will work, what measures they have to go, what steps, and making a real plan. That's the Bina. And then the plan is on paper, it's clear, the direction is very focused. And then you have everything there. If you leave there and you don't go any further, again, nothing will change. In order to change, you gotta bring it to action, connection, to connect to it and really follow through it. The following through that is the action that happens in life. Many people have great ideas. Many people even went further to develop their ideas, how to make it a success. But they never went to the third step, which is that. That is to bring this idea into action day-to-day life. And as long as we did not bring it to that, this remains a total theory in life. Theory is not effective. So, from those 3 levels of the brain, which one is the most effective for us?
That.
Is that. Now, where does a person get that? Where does that come from? Because that is a very powerful word. Very powerful that you can take a concept, an idea and turn it to action and make it a success, it's like big steps. Where does it come from?
Comes from the animal soul.
Oh, no, no. That, and listen to me carefully, it comes from Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu.
It's a dot.
It's a dat tovara, but where do we have that idea of that, of learning action and developing that concept and to bring it into action? Very interesting Zohar by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, each and every human being there is a spark of Moses, of Moshe Rabbeinu. That spark of Moshe Rabbeinu is the dat within ourselves.
Is that every human being or every Jew?
Every Jew.
Not every human being.
No. From every human being has also dat, but that comes from Etz Hadat,
Comes from where?
the tree of knowledge. That is good and evil. By a Jewish person, says the Zohar, that comes from Moses, from Moshe Rabbeinu. That means the conscience in me. Where is the conscience? Where is the action? Why am I doing it and bringing it to action? Is because my conscience directs me to act. That conscience is the power that motivates us to bring it to day-to-day life. Basically, it transfers to feelings. What is that? Feelings. It brings down that I feel about it. I not just think about it. You can think about great ideas. If you don't feel about it, anything, it will disappear.
Isn't that a connection? You were saying before something that was a little disturbing to me was that, you know, when the godly soul connects with the heart, that it's too much, or maybe I misunderstood
You
it.
misunderstood because I didn't really explain that. So this is a whole
Put that
topic.
aside.
Put it on the side right now.
But isn't that where the power of the dot is coming from? Isn't it that explosion of the heart?
No.
And the combining of
No.
the two?
The power of the dot is able to combine what you grasp and developed, that you feel about it.
But
You
where
have a passion for
But
it.
the passion doesn't come, I don't find the passion comes from intellect. Passion comes from the heart.
Here is the dot. There is the brain. If you see, this is the mind of the person. So there is the chokhmah on this side. The dot is here. The bottom of the brain is the dot. This is what connects to the heart. This is what brings the heart and the feelings of the idea of the mind together.
So that the dot can combine with the heart at that point, when
Correct.
you reach that point.
That's where the
to-
dot brings into the heart.
To bring the
and-
fire up.
Correct.
It
And
brings the
develops
fire
a
up in the
feeling.
passion. Okay, that makes sense.
So it's the passion that brings your idea to life? Does
Correct.
that make sense?
Correct. Yes. If you don't have that feeling, that is the connection, that is the feeling about, the passion for it, you will never be able to do nothing accomplishing in life.
But the dot on its own, if it couldn't just occur just here. It does need to occur physically deeper within inside the
That
body.
has to come penetrating down to the heart.
Because from there, it's creating a physical action, and that
Correct.
has to really engage everything.
Correct, yeah.
What if you have an idea and you're passionate about it, but all these people around you say no, like somehow they blow away your dreams and say no, this is not going to work, and that's it.
That's where that is all about. That you're not blown away by air from others. Your self-actualization means you're not affected what other people are going to tell you. It's within you. If you feel so convinced that this is who you are and what you need, so other people they don't know what's your state of mind. They don't understand who you are. You understand who you are. Nobody else can really understand as much as you can understand yourself. That's why God gave you the brains, and each one understand themselves the best they can. When there is a confusion in life, and we don't synchronize between our mind and hearts and feeling, then we have to go to a psychiatrist to help us to synchronize. It's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes people need that because there is total chaos and confusion in their mind and their feelings. So they need someone to help them to put things in order. It doesn't say that they are totally nuts and they're crazy. No. People go through stages in life, and sometimes, but what we're starting today is creating order in our own life. So we don't need to reach outside. We know within us who we are and what we are. So the moment we have that is with two legs on the ground, you are firm. This is my direction. You feel for it. If you feel for your child, the love for your child, and someone comes, hey, your child is nothing, would you listen to them? Obviously, this is my child, this is part of me. Who are you to tell me that? I mean, that's how that is so powerful. That is the power of the mind.
You could be wrong, too.
Obviously, you can be wrong, but if you feel that way, and that's who you are, even if you're wrong, it's a lesson for you to learn something. You have to go through that stage so you can learn to become better, as long as you're learning with that stage. We do mistakes in life, yes. We are not angels, we are not God. We are humans that have godly inspiration, but we are many times not listening. And we're doing other things, and we do make mistakes. But if you learn from your mistake, you're a step closer to do the right thing. So mistakes are not bad if you learn from them.
And what if you don't learn from them?
Then you'll make another mistake.
You're never gonna learn. You're never gonna pass until you learn from that.
Chaos
There's no elevator in life.
is internalized. And then if a person has, the more chaos we have, the less effective we can be in life. The more organization we got in our minds and how this works within ourselves. And that's what we're learning it today. To understand where is the vision, what is the goal, to understand what we have within us, that creates certain order, then we can see how far and where we're heading. To get back to the ideas we started. Yosef that, yeah.
Sorry. I don't mean to demean anyone, but there are people who have order, but that's all they have. They just have order. And they do the same thing every day.
And their dat is not there. Why? That's where I'm heading now to the next step. Yosef dat, says King Solomon, Yosef machov. Interesting statement. The more knowledge you gain, the more pain you may have.
Ignorance is bliss, as they say.
Uh-huh. So what does it mean, the more dat you have, the more pain? If you feel so strong about something, then if you don't get it, there is pain. And if you have to restrict yourself, the more knowledge you get, and you have to now to self-discipline because of that, it's also painful. Because disciplining is painful, but discipline leads to happiness. Because what disciplines us is the dat. And the more we are able to discipline, the more satisfied we are because we are achieving goals in life. So self-discipline is a prerequisite to achieve something in life. The depth of the dat is the depth of pain. That's what King Solomon says.
The depth of the da
is the depth of the pain.
You better explain that one.
Because very simple. The more feelings, if you have feelings towards your child, and the child goes through a difficult time in their life, would you feel pain for them? Would you feel for them? Why? Because you feel so much love. And you see how difficult and struggling they are. You feel pain. Is this good or bad?
It's good.
It's good. But pain is good? Obviously it is good. Because your dad now connects to this child. You feel that child. You have so much love and passion. That's why the pain is there.
Is pain the right word for it? I don't think pain's the right word.
Is there a better word that you can say?
Anguish.
Huh?
Anguish.
Anguish is something different though. Pain, there is another word. Lepum tsara agra. According to your aggravation, that's how the reward is going to be. The more aggravation you have, the reward is going to be greater. That says Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, which in simple words, as I started in the beginning of this class, was no pain, no gain. If you want to have gain, you're going to have the pain of the self-discipline. That's the goal in life. How do you have the pain? It's only through that. That creates a certain direction and feeling and the achievement that you need to do that.
I think
That creates pain. That it's painful, but when you achieve it and you have done it, you feel satisfaction and happiness.
pain is indicating struggle here. No struggle, no gain.
No, it's the discipline.
Struggle is in a certain sense.
It's hard to
with
get
word-
a word for
Correct.
it.
There is no simple word over here
Yeah.
because we don't like pain. By nature, we are against
Right,
pain.
that's why.
Why do you want to tell me pain? Pain is I don't like pain.
Exactly.
However, no pain, no gain. And that is a word that is real. You know why? Because the pain creates and makes us ready for this achievement. Only when we are able to go through that pain, we are able to achieve that even greater.
No pain.
Just going to conclude this with a story of the student of the Chassid of the first Chabad Rebbe. His name was Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel was a very interesting character. He was a very respectful Chassid. Everyone looked up to him. One time they had like a gathering and they're sitting on Shabbat afternoon and they're having a good time. And each one is speaking and talking and he's also speaking. And suddenly walks in a man with a hot pot of delicious stuff, dish that was there from Friday night and cooked well and it smells. And he puts in a beautiful big tray, he puts everything on the table. And the people around the table smell the food and they smell the fillings and they are about to, each one takes a plate, is ready to take some. This Rabbi Shmuel jumps on the platter and pulls the platter to himself. So other Hasidim looking at him, okay, you want to take it, whatever you like, take it. But he doesn't take. He just holds the platter, doesn't let anyone take it. So they tell him, listen, Rabbi Shmuel, we know that you're a very special Hasid, you're a very special man. Take whatever you like, but then share it. He says, I need it. And he holds on. He doesn't eat himself, he doesn't let anyone else. Finally, there were a few young guys there who were a little bit on the hungry side, and they tell Reb Shmuel, with all the respect to you, you want to give it to us or you want us to take it from you? And Reb Shmuel looks at them and watches them, and they get closer and closer and closer, and he sees, in a second they all grab it out. He takes the whole platter and turns it upside down on the floor.
Oh my God.
And now those young people got very angry with him. Who gave you this? Why would you waste food? And they started to corner him a little bit. They are about to take care. You know, you want to eat, you're welcome, but you cannot just put the food and spill everything on the floor and nobody can eat. It's not fair. And they slowly started to push him to the corner. And as they are about already to start really being more aggressive with him, the butcher of the town opens up the door of the synagogue and screams, "Stop eating this meal! I just found out that the animal that we use the meat from is not kosher." Wow. Now everyone stopped. It means that meal, that food that Rabbi Shmuel was holding was really not kosher. Because he was holding and jumping in it, he saved them to eat non-kosher food. Now they start looking at him differently. Who are you? They tell him. Who are you? Are you a miracle man? Because now we know that we all didn't know what it is. We just wanted to eat. And you decided to pour it on the floor? Unheard of. Especially in those days, food was so precious. You couldn't get such food anywhere. It was something very precious. And it cost a lot of money. Why would you spill it on the floor? It was unheard of. So you probably understood that this is not kosher. You knew that. How did you know that?
He worked with the Busha.
And he didn't.
It was his part-time job.
He says to them, I'll tell you the truth. I'm not a miracle man. I am completely a simple man like you all. When I came into the Rebbe, who is a miracle man, the first time in my life, and I said, Rebbe, how do I gain that? How do I gain that ability to change my wrong character in life? That I'm able to change myself step by step. How do I do that? I am not the human being that I can be and I should be. I am this animal human being. I'm desiring simple animalistic things in life. Rabbi, teach me how do I change myself? How do I gain real da'at in my life? And the Rabbi tells me then, you cannot change yourself in a one time, but step by step. I'll give you one direction and follow it carefully, and you will see how you change yourself. And the direction is that the Rabbi told him is, whenever you desire something so strong, physical, pleasure, abstain. Hold yourself back a little bit. It can be for an hour, it can be for a day. Just don't jump on it. Hold back. Discipline, control yourself. Not because you're not allowed to have it. It's maybe permissible. But just because you want it that strong, it means your animal is pushing you that much, hold back. Fight back a little bit. So, when I saw the dish coming in here, and I saw how much I want this food, and then I saw how everybody else, I suddenly flashed back what the Rebbe told me.
Pain gain.
But when that pain happened, that was a gain for everyone. That's how we are changing ourselves. Step by step. One little step makes a huge difference in who we are. This is the da'at within us.
I may have to do something at the next Kiddush here.
Well, you better be well prepared for that.
Just
Have a
question.
wonderful day, yeah.
I'm sorry. How long do you still have? Because
We're going to have another 4 weeks.
no. For today. I'm sorry.
Today we are done. Have a wonderful day, everyone. There's much more to talk about it, but I think it is.
I needed to go before, but I couldn't leave. Sorry. Thank you.
All the best to you.
Great.
Have a wonderful
you.
day.
Thank you.
If it's okay, thank you.
Sure.
You know, I took the lessons.
What?
No, I told you I went to the center in the city.
About what? Which center? Yeah.
So then I'm going to
You're doing great.
I started with is that the same?
Tikkun is also connected to that.
That's why it's the only thing that kind of like sounded like.
Yes. But they tell you tikkun, but you don't understand what means tikkun. You come out
Tikkun is your challenge,
lost.
your challenge,
It's
right?
one.
You're coming out lost
Have the discipline.
instead to come out empowered. This course takes you
Over.
the way the Baal Shem Tov teaches Kabbalah.
No, I like
to
it.
empower you how to use it the correct way so you come out way ahead.
We get it now. It's
I don't
funny
think
you were
so.
saying
I
that
don't
this is just
think you
something
change
personal
that. I
about
don't think that's
achieving
something
something,
you
you
change. I
get
think
the
if you
satisfaction.
Don't
Like
want it
for example, I
anymore.
went to law
You
school.
are
It's difficult.
interfering with the
I didn't want to
ability
go.
of the
I
heart
still went.
to
Of
inspire.
course, when I finished, I was
I
proud of
think you need
myself.
to
But then,
still want it
whenever
to
I
have
see
that
my
basic
diploma, I
fire.
never
It's
framed
gotta
it.
be the
I
fire.
never hung. It's
I think
still
you're
sitting in my
extinguishing
car. I
the
couldn't
flame
care
if
less.
you do it that way.
If you
So-
extinguish the flame.
You
That's
know
what I'm
what?
saying.
You have a satisfaction, but you never yet actualize that
Flame for what's
satisfaction.
important.
But you know what in the back of your head, you said, I have that
I'm
diploma.
just, I mean, that's the
If
only,
I
I
ever
believe that that would
need
be.
it, I know
I
what to
see,
do
I
in
see
that next.
from myself.
I've read
I will
everything
be able to then to go to the next step.
indicate.
Right now, you have
Yeah,
priorities.
I think it gives me
To that
credibility as a
physical,
person.
you know,
Correct.
That's about it.
kindling.
Exactly.
I don't
I read
enjoy
it or-
practicing.
I can't
But,
remember where
you know.
I read it.
But you know what? You don't know what your
And
future
it
is
talked
going to
about
be.
how
Right now, your priority is children, family, but then when children grow older, and then you will look back, maybe I should.
Yeah, but don't I
Maybe.
get a
A few of
plan
the
from there?
examples they gave, I mean, they gave a few.
What I'm
examples.
doing?
You got the
I
plan.
don't remember. them
No,
all.
I don't know
One
what
of
it
them
is.
was Vikings.
That's why I'm here.
Another was a certain type
The
of.
plan
song
is
that's
to do
really-
step by step.
And it just.
Become a better
certain
person,
things.
reach out to
Yeah.
others, volunteer when you can, do goodness.
There's certain things
It doesn't mean in one day you change the world, but start within yourself,
And
your
when you
children,
get there, you
to
enjoy
do
them.
good things as you reach out to your friends, to have a class together.
Because you have to have a goal too. This is just your way of life is to do
The
good.
ultimate goal.
But to have a goal, to do something, to get somewhere. Like for me, going to law school was a big achievement. It was. It
Well,
wasn't what I wanted to
eventually-
do.
Other than,
Eventually, maybe you will find a direction how this can assist you to
and it's
achieve
I feel
something.
like it's gonna be too late. I'll be like 50 for me.
Look, it's never too
you
late.
know,
A
it
life,
bothers me.
every minute in life is precious.
That's what I'm.
One,
I'll save that for a future.
in 1
time.
hour, you can suddenly get a flash, okay.
But there are
now
people
I'm
that have
ready.
achieved it in this lifetime.
Take
I
steps to
believe
achieve
it's
that.
the
It's not
80-20
in 1 minute
Everything
you're gonna
goes
achieve that.
down to the 80-20
But
rule.
when you're gonna come to that
Spend
point
80
that
time,
you feel
80%
I'm ready,
of the
my
time
next challenge.
working
Because
in
thank
your
God now you
business
are
and 20%
happy
on your business.
and you are
And so many
fully
things in life are that
occupied
80-20
with your
combination.
present
I
goal.
think if you
You
could
don't
achieve
need
It's
to
funny,
become
I
the
remember
superwoman,
you had all
outside
sorts
and
of-
inside. Just focus on what you do best and do the best of it. But when you pass that stage and you move on, you will see the direction what
I
else.
feel like I'm stuck in this stage.
No, this stage is not gonna be forever. I can assure you, you'll miss that stage. Look, you will miss this stage. It comes to a point you will miss that stage because you will know, wow, it's such a pleasure time. Every time you pick up, you can hug your children, you can they'll hug you, and you see that inner pleasure. But that will give you strength to move on.
It wasn't just for God, it wasn't just. for-
Don't be afraid, God has a plan.
Okay, thank
There's
you.
no other way to do it.
Hey,
The
Michael.
good news, B'serot Tovot.
He was not for God, he was something else. And he talked about,
Yeah.
Gershon, thank you. I see it has a light.
isn't it supposed to, Rabbi?
I don't know.